Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Rockhurst University in Kansas City. I'm Mike Lucas for UWBadgers.com. I'm joined by the voice of the Badgers, Matt Lepay. The real charm of the NC2A tournament is before you can get on the big stage, you have to practice in the small gyms, and that's what the Badgers are doing here today.
This is old school, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it just kind of reminds you of some of the gyms you played in growing up, and we've seen this before with Badger teams on the road in the NCAA, and it's a little bit turn back the clock, but it's 94 feet, the rims are 10 feet high, so I'm sure the head coach is happy.
So what do you think about the draw, the seed for Wisconsin?
The seed, I think, is fair. The draw, I like it just as a fan of the game because it's interesting. Because Ole Miss getting here the way it did, and the way the Rebels play, it's a little bit different to say the least than Wisconsin. The one thing that I guess that I'm not crazy about, if things work out in the second round, the Badgers are going to be the road team, really, in essence, because this isn't that far from Manhattan, and the fan base for Kansas State, it's obviously a short commute. So that isn't ideal, but otherwise, I think this sets up to be an interesting group here in Kansas City.
I think we have to condition ourselves to a different first-round game in that it's not Belmont, it's not Wofford. It's a program in a BCS conference.
And that's really what I like about it, this first game. I think this gets your attention, even if you're a casual basketball fan. And Ole Miss. People have said what they've said about the SEC, but let's face it, Ole Miss is hot right now. And it's done a good job, it's done a great job in the SEC tournament without its point guard, who got hurt in the first game that the Rebels played. They got through that game, got through the next two, including Florida. So the name alone will get your attention. What the Rebels have done really gets your attention.
Watching Marshall Henderson is fun if you don't have to try to stop him. I've been trying to think about someone he compares to that we've seen in the Big Ten. It's been brought to my attention, maybe a Drew Neitzel, in the way he just cuts away around multiple screens and can shoot from outside.
Yeah, great at coming off the screens and very quick in the release. Catch, and it's gone. And it could be from just beyond the three-point line, or it could be a couple, 3 or 4 steps beyond the three-point line. And what associate head coach Greg Gard, who has the scout for this, he's been impressed with not just his ability to shoot it from distance. He can shot fake, he can drive the ball. The guy takes about 11 threes per game on average, but he also gets to the foul line a lot. And that tells you that this guy has a lot to the package offensively, not just a catch and shoot guy, somebody who can do a lot more than that.
And we both would anticipate the Badgers will rotate defenders off him.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see probably multiple guys at a given time checking Henderson. And the other thing, too, is up front. Greg Gard, again, talks a lot about Reginald Buckner, talks a lot about Murphy Holloway, their tenacity, their strength to go with some length there, the ability to block shots, crash the glass. Seems like a group that as much attention as Henderson gets, and we all know why. That group up front, I think, has some physicality to it as well.
I think we were both impressed with what we saw out of Wisconsin in Chicago. Maybe ran a bit out of gas in that third game against Ohio State, but to run the gauntlet against the quality of opponent that they saw, and speaks volumes for where this team is late in the season, and it's pretty much where you want to be.
And I think what this team understands too, Mike, at least I believe it does, I think you would agree, is that the Badgers know when they play well, they can play with anybody. And by playing well, it's defending, it's protecting the ball. And you don't have to be great shooting the ball, but you have to shoot it reasonably well. When they're doing that, they can play with anybody. But they also know that if they don't defend, if they don't protect the ball, they're vulnerable to anybody. So I think it's a team that really understands who it is and what it has to do to be able to win games. And that's why I think I like this team going into the tournament, maybe hanging around for a little while if they follow the rules that have taken them this far.
The one thing that you can't ignore, they have 3 seniors who have been there and done that in this NC2A tournament, and they have to set an example.
They do. Bo Ryan has talked about that. You always look to the upperclassmen. It's great to have experience, but as Bo said on his radio show Monday night, the seniors need to be talking to themselves to raise their level of play. And certainly, for the most part, they did a pretty nice job in Chicago, but now you want to even be better if you can going into the NCAA tournament.
For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown.